it's just, you know what I'm saying? So, like, he would try to get me to play golf all the time. Mike, I know about you. I've written books report about you in, like, elementary school. Like, I know you started playing golf when you were in Carolina. So that means if I'm doing the math, you've been playing golf for, like, 100 fucking years. I have not picked up a golf club.
Ever.
The last thing you're going to do is get me on a golf course and annihilate me. I'm not going to do it.
All right, welcome back to the show, everyone, and happy 24th. Happy Kobe Chronicles Day. Yesterday was the 23rd, and I had a blast doing back-to-back reactions to MJ stuff. And as I try to do every single month here, and I've been on quite a roll here, or it's been quite a good run. I do back-to-back Kobe reactions for the 24th, and this time I have something a little different. This video is so long. This is an hour, 1 hour and 3 minute interview with Kobe Bryant. It's titled Kobe Bryant's Last Great Interview from a channel called Valuetainment. And if you don't know what this is, if you guys watched my reaction to the recent Scottie Pippen interview, it's the same guy, same channel, except for this time I believe it's on a stage. Full disclosure, I have watched this, but I watched this in 2019. When did this come out? This came out, wow, in 2019. Okay, so yeah, this is right before Kobe passed away. And yeah, I'm going to split this up into 2 parts. So for the night video, I'm going to do part 2 of this. And I figured that's the only way I'm ever going to react to this whole thing because it's so long. But this way, I'll just break it up into 2 parts. And that will entail the 24th for this month. And then next month, we'll do something completely different. But I've had this in my back pocket for months now. And I just realized today, I'm like, this is the way to do it. So anyways, everyone, this interview is phenomenal. So I hope you stick around. I hope you watch this, and I hope you stick around for part 2. As I always do, I'm going to link the original video down below in the description for you all. If you guys want to check out the channel, or if you want to watch this interview on your own time without my interjections, then go right ahead. Everybody, please leave this video a like. As always, I can't wait to see you guys in the comments and have a good old conversation and celebrate today as we pay respect to, shoot, in my book, the second best basketball player I've ever seen, you know? So that's it. I got MJ and I got Kobe right up there at the top of the list. So gotta pay my respects. And yeah, I'm excited to do this, everyone. Let's get right into it. It's gonna be a long one. So grab some snacks, grab some drinks, do what you gotta do, or some coffee or whatever it is, some tea. Let's get right into it.
So at 13 years old, I had a I had a kill list. I gotta hunt them down. Now you got a problem.
That's right.
I don't think I've ever said this before.
Seriously.
Seriously. This is gonna be fun. Michael in particular, he become my big brother.
The greatest of all time.
Oh, we call him Black Jesus. You're not intimidating me. We're gonna go at it.
It's crazy.
Yeah, man.
You're about to take your shot, and then all of a sudden, boom.
The kiss of death. Man, my back was really spasming.
How the hell do you tolerate that kind of pain?
I played games with the flu. I played games with 102-degree fever, man.
Powerful.
Right. They all thought I was absolutely crazy the day me and Shaq got in a fist fight.
Yeah.
Fist fight.
Oh, yeah.
Fist fight.
Oh, I'm not backing down. Listen. Hey, dude, you got to throw me the ball. I said, man, fuck that. Get it off the rebound if I miss, bro.
Yep. Yep.
You told him this. It doesn't bother you.
I'm fine, dude. What the hell do you want me to do?
In case you guys haven't realized it yet, I'm sure there is a ton of short vids that you've seen of Kobe quotes, and you had no idea where it came from. This is where it came from.
Got it.
This is going to be great. I already got goosebumps. Let's do it. This is also the interview I found out that Kobe and Jordan were like brothers. I had no idea. And then at the celebration of life to hear MJ speak on it as well. I'm like, wow.
Here's who tonight's speaker is. You ready? Before I introduce him, I want to tell you what some of his accomplishments are. Hang on. I got to tell you some of the things he's done.
Yep, so there's a crowd.
After the first one, you're going to know who it is. And if you're jacked up about it, I want you to holler and bring this building down. You ready? Let me say who it is first. First sentence. Ready? You got your lives on. You ready? He is the greatest Laker of all time. 5-time champion. The only guard to play with one team for 20 years.
Go. Yeah, they're already there. That's so cool.
More 40-point games than LeBron and KD. Let me just say, this guy's more 40-point games than LeBron James and Kevin Durant.
Combined.
More 50-point games. More 50-point games than LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry combined. And more 60-point games than LeBron James and Michael Jordan combined.
Really?
Give it up to the one, the only, Kobe Bryant.
Okay, I don't imagine LeBron really contributed to those 60-point games, though. But I didn't know Kobe's got more 60s than MJ. What's up, Mamba? Dude, cool stage. I forgot how cool that looks. That's an awesome backdrop. The music is so cheesy here.
Kobe. Man. All right. Now, this is a company.
This is a company.
This is a company. It's awesome. Wonderful.
So, you know, I got to tell you guys.
MVP. That's awesome.
Thank you.
It's like he's still on the court.
So, we got to try to get through this interview in 60 minutes. So, you know, it's one of the things a lot of you guys don't know. Let me get your attention. Settle down. You can stay where you are, but just settle down. Just don't make a lot of noise so we can enjoy the interview. I get it. Settle down. So, you know, one of the things most of you guys don't know, we were in the back. Mario was asking me a question. Mario asked me a question and says, what do you think about when you think about Kobe? And I said, the first thing that comes to my mind is my dad. He says, why your dad? I said, because, you know, he's born August 23rd, 78.
Yeah.
I'm October 1878. So you're six and a half, 7 weeks older than me.
Right.
So when he came to the Lake, I've been a diehard Laker fan since, you know, 1990 when I came to the States from Iran. And I'll never forget this. We would sit there and watch the game together. My dad and I would watch you play. And one day, Lakers are playing against the 76ers. And it's game one. If you know my dad, you know he's had a lot of heart attacks. We're watching game one. Iverson hits the shot over Ty Lue, right?
Yeah. Oh, the stats, yeah.
Game ends, they win the first game. My dad gets up and my dad says, Patrick, take me to the hospital. We went straight to the hospital because he was having heart issues.
What?
So that's how much we go back watching you grow up. You know, watching you play.
Man.
It was amazing doing what you did
for
one organization for 20 years. But, you know, before we get into it and kind of talk about what you're working on today and some of the mental toughness stuff here, if I was in high school with you, outside of your game, outside you playing ball, who was Kobe Bryant as an individual and personality in high school? If we were in high school together.
Much the same that I am now, actually, which is extremely curious. And I had a great teacher in high school. Her name is Jane Mastriano, who I'm still very close to. And she sparked my curiosity in writing. And the reason why I felt it was important at the time was not for the writing's sake, or not for storytelling purposes, but there are things in story, inherently in story, that can help me be a better basketball player, be a better teammate, a better leader, understand emotions better. So that's why I got into storytelling, actually. So it's just insanely curious, man. And, you know, trivial things weren't going to pull my attention. It had to be things weren't going to pull my attention. It had to be things that were, I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players to ever play. And anything else that was outside of that lane, I didn't have time for.
Yeah.
At what age did that goal become crystal clear?
I made that deal with myself at 13 years old.
At 13 years old?
13 years old. That's the
you
deal
were
I made.
crystal clear about it?
Crystal clear.
And where did inspiration come from?
The love of the game. The love of the game, the challenge. Like, I would watch Magic play, I'd watch Michael play, and I would see them do these unbelievable things, and I'd say, can I get to that level? I don't know, but let's find out. Let's find out.
Yeah.
And so that curiosity to see where I could push this thing led me down that path, I think.
And that's Kobe's crazy work ethic. So he had it from a young age. And we saw what success it brought him to.
Down that path.
I think so.
Now, were you always competitive from the day you were born? You were super competitive?
Competitive with things that I participate in. So I'll put it to you this way. So Michael is competitive in all things.
Yep.
Things that don't make sense. Right?
Ping pong.
Yeah, it's just, you know what I'm saying? So he would try to get me to play golf all the time. Mike, I know about you. I've written books report about you in elementary school. I know you started playing golf when you were in Carolina. So that means if I'm doing the math, you've been playing golf for 100 fucking years. I have not picked up a golf club.
Ever.
The last thing you're going to do is get me on a golf course and annihilate me. Not going to do it.
Yep.
You've never picked up a golf club?
No, I did it one time and I was hitting 400-yard grounders.
Grounders.
And so it got my competitiveness going. I got to learn this game. But then I broke my finger during that year, and then I couldn't play much, and that was it.
So the one thing when I see with you, and
that's funny. I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of more like Kobe when it comes to my competitive nature. I have to be invested in something in order for me to get competitive about it. It's something I've dedicated time to, and then it's I want to be the best. I want to be the best I can possibly be. But when it comes to just casual crap, like golfing, for instance, I never golf. If I go to a driving range or something like that, it's I don't really care. I'm just out having fun, If I got good at it, though, and I dedicated some time, for sure, I'd get competitive, though.
Think about brain and I think focus. How so many different things brain can get distracted on, and I'm going to put focus on this and focus on this and focus on this. Mm-hmm. Do you think one of the edge you had over everybody else was the biggest percentage of your focus was on one thing? Mm-hmm. Do you see it that way? That was my edge over everybody else?
I do. At the time, I didn't really understand that, right? So, basketball for me was the most important thing. So everything I saw, whether it was TV shows, whether it was books I read, people I talked to, everything was done to try to learn how to become a better basketball player. Everything. And so when you have that point of view, then literally the world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft.
The world becomes your library to help you improve your craft, better your craft.
Yes,
and that's what I miss about Kobe Bryant, big time, is you don't see that nowadays where basketball is the center focus. We see everyone focusing on the lifestyle. They're focusing on their next contract. It's money shit. Kobe was out there. You never saw him complaining about the finances. He was just out there focusing on basketball. He wanted to win. And the only time you'd see him complain is if he wasn't in a position to win. Then he was starting to think, I might want to go somewhere else, But outside of that, no. He had a central focused mind, and that's why he was able to accomplish so much, in my opinion.
So
I miss
because you know what you want, the world's giving you exactly the information you need to become better at it.
Because you know what you're looking for. Yeah.
So when you sized your peers up, how'd you size your peers up? If you're sizing people, I'm talking you're 13 years old, you're sizing peers up, what lens are you looking through your peers?
So at 13 years old, I had a kill list.
Yeah.
And so, they used to do these rankings. It was Street and Smith basketball rankings. And I was nowhere to be found because I was 6'4".
Street and Smith, this J Kid. Sorry, I wanted to look at this. College prep basketball, shooting from the top, call dreaming of NCAA title. Okay. So he's looking at college players. at that time. Hold on. Sorry.
basketball rankings.
I want to look at this one too. The next dream team. Seton Hall, Boston College. Okay, yeah, so he's looking at college. So he's got college players on his kill list?
60 pounds soaking wet. So I was like 57 on the list. And so I will look at 56, 55, all the way up to number 1, who these players are, what club teams they played for. So when we go on an AAU travel circuit, I got to hunt them down, right? And so that became my mission in high school, is to check off every other person, all those 56 other names, hunt them down and knock them down.
Some people play Pokemon. Kobe was doing this in the real world.
That was it.
Get a target on him right off the bat.
That was it.
Very
Gotta catch 'em
simple.
all.
That's unbelievable. Let me ask you this question. You say I'm one of the guys on that list ahead of you, and we play. What are you doing to get a feel? Is your mind like, are you asking, let me see if this guy's better than me in this side and this side and this side? Or are you just going saying, I'm going to kill this guy?
Well, it depends what year. So like at 13 years old, I played the longer game, because my game wasn't about being better than you at 13. It was to be better than you when, the chips are really on the line.
Yeah.
So when we played at 13, I would size you up and see what your strengths and weaknesses are. How do you approach the game? Are you silly about it? Are you goofy about it? Are you good at it just because you're bigger and stronger than everybody else? Right? Or is there actually thought and skill that you put into it? Right? And when I'd play to my weaknesses. I wouldn't play to my strengths. I played to my weaknesses. Because when you're playing summer basketball, there's so many games. So there's not a lot of skill work being done. So when are you going to get better?
Yep.
Right? When you're playing in competition situations, you're only playing to your strengths. Why? Because you want to win. Right? So what I would do, I was work on the things during those games that I was weak at. Left hand, pull-up jump shot, post game. Right? So I have a strategy. And so then fast forward to when I'm 17, and my game is completely well-rounded, and that player at 13 that I saw at 13 is still doing the same shit at 17, now you got a problem.
That's right.
You got a problem.
And you saw that.
You got a problem.
And by the way,
Yeah, I heard, much before this, I heard the same thing from my favorite guitarist, Steve Vai. He said on a video once, and he was breaking it down, saying that's what practice is for. Practice is for working on your weaknesses. So then by the time you get on the stage, some of those weaknesses become your strength. But when you're on stage for the big show, you just accentuate your strengths. That's what you do. But the whole goal of practice, or in this case, he's got these summer leagues, which is essentially practice for the big picture. You focus on your weaknesses constantly so that by the time it matters, those are no longer weaknesses. Those become your strengths. And I had the same approach on the guitar in all my years of playing, and I had that same approach in basketball too. So it's cool. It's a good mindset for anything, in my opinion. Always work on what you're not confident in. Practice that enough. Like if I'm Ben Simmons, I should be working on my jump shot constantly, nothing else. So by the time it's game time, this is muscle memory. This is now my strength, or free throws for some players.
let me ask you, so that's high school. You go into the league. When you're going into the league, you're going with a lot of guys that were, same age, same class as you were going in.
Yeah.
Were you sizing those guys at the same exact way as you did in high school?
I did, but in the NBA, it was actually easier. Because what I found in the NBA is a lot of guys played for financial stability. Mm-hmm. And when they came to the NBA, they got that financial stability. So therefore, the passion and the work ethic and the obsessiveness was gone. So I'm looking at that, I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna be like taking candy from a baby. No wonder Mike wins all these fucking championships.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
That's true. It's true. All it takes is one crazy, obsessive guy to come into the league, and he can freaking tear the league apart. Because everyone else is so content.
And then you had the players that had that passion, but
this is great,
weren't willing to commit their entire lives to doing that. Right? It's a choice. Right? You have other things. You have family. You have all these other things that you have to do. The game can't really be your number one priority. And so I was looking at that like, man, this is gonna be fun.
Yep.
In the muse, you said, I knew you couldn't do what I was doing because I was obsessed. I'm paraphrasing. And then you said, whether it's friends, relationship.
Hey, what is this? A fiercely personal documentary? Muse? Huh. I've never seen this.
Didn't matter. It was all basketball.
Yeah.
If I'm buddies with you from high school, if I'm a cousin of yours, what happened to our relationship? How did that gravitate when you went into the league and you're determined to become the greatest, or you're determined to become one of the greatest? What happens to our relationship?
Oh, it suffers.
It does suffer.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you understood that. You were okay
yeah.
with that.
Well, yeah. And the people that love you, like friends and family, like they know that about you.
Got it.
So they let you be you. And when you reconvene, you know, you pick back up where you left off. Mm-hmm. But make no mistake about it, everything in between is lost, right? So those long-term relationships, the commitment of time of, taking vacation. Like I see a lot of players take vacations with other players that are close friends. And they'll just take vacations just to take vacations, or just hang out just to hang out. Like I never did that.
Yeah.
But it was a
why not
choice.
though? Why didn't you do that?
Well, because when I retire, I didn't want to have to say,
What if?
I wish I would have done more.
Yeah.
I don't want that. You know, I don't want that.
I think that's why Kobe was so happy in his retirement too. He was so content with basketball, and he just moved on to his next passions that were driving him. It's because he really did lay it all out there on the court, especially with that last game, man. He just, every ounce of energy, every last bit he had to give, he gave it to the game, and then he moved forward. It makes sense. By the way, what's with all the Transformer stuff?
So, okay, so you come in, it's very powerful what you just said. Some of your peers were in it for the money, so they got the money. Okay, great. Buy a house for my mom, dad wanted that car, get this, get that, have fame, go to different cities, I'm partying, I'm doing all this other stuff. Who were some of the guys that you saw and you watched that weren't just driven by the money? Were there some names that you looked at and says, these three guys are as crazy as I am?
At the time, I deal with what I've referred to as Goat Mountain. I went to Goat Mountain, and I talked to Magic, Michael, Bird, Hakeem Olajuwon, Jerry West, Oscar Robinson, Bill Russell. You know, so I would talk to them. What did you do? What were your experiences? Michael in particular, he's become my big brother. He's been my big brother since I first came in the league. And what was that process like?
There it is. And that's when I found out. I didn't know until I heard him say that, and I was like, wait, the mentorship started that early? But he said it right there, and then MJ, the following year at the celebration of life for Kobe, he confirmed it 100%. You know, the mentorship started early, and it never ended, even post-basketball career. Kobe was still coming to him for, like, life mentorship, for father mentorship, business mentorship.
Been my big brother since I first came in the league.
Yeah, there it is.
And what was that process like? Right. So I went to them and started understanding the ins and outs of the game, and how they approach things and their level of detail and obsessiveness, and that's what I did.
Why do you think? And first of all, let me ask how it felt, but I'm curious to know why you think as well. How did it feel knowing, like, from the moment you got into the league? The guy at the time is the greatest of all time. Everybody wants to be like my Gatorade.
By the way, I have to show something. Right there. When people say, like, oh, Jordan didn't have competition, yeah, Jordan was beating the MVP sometimes. He was either the MVP or he had to beat the MVP in order to win a championship. Okay? He did it with Barkley too.
The guy at the time is the greatest of all time. Everybody wants to be like my Gatorade, all this stuff. The level of respect he had for you when he spoke about you was different than everybody else. And you're an 18, 19-year-old kid at that time.
Yeah.
How did that feel when you heard how he spoke about you?
It made me feel good, but like what I told him, I was like, you didn't say anything I didn't already know, so. So like I tell you, like when I was in high school,
Freaking Kobe.
and I used to work out with the 76ers. I used to ask him, what's it like to guard Mike? He go, Mike?
Y'all know this
You mean
quote.
Black Jesus? I'm like, what the fuck? Black who? We call him Black Jesus. Or you can call him Black Cat. I'm like, I'm gonna call him fucking Mike. That's his fucking name.
To be fair, Kobe eventually copied that and started calling himself the Brown Cat.
So the level of fear that he inspired in others was insane.
Yep.
Wow. And I would tell him, I said, when I face him, we're gonna go at it. He says, oh, you don't wanna do that. I'm like, what? Man, you don't know me, man. And so when we matched up,
Love this image.
I think he understood that.
I have this on my wall behind me, that image on a plaque. Shout out to my homie who got that for me, man. I love it. Sorry, it's not good. There, that. I love this image. Mentor to student.
And when I was 18, my first year, he got the best of me a bunch of times. I was right there the next play. You're not intimidating me.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere. And I think he saw that level of respect because I think he was the same way at 18 years old. And that common bond is what I think, where our connection was built.
Yeah, it was great watching you guys going back and forth, whether it was the All-Star game or whether the famous scene where, you're guarding him, he's in front of you, you're asking him a question, there's a question, and he's saying footwork and do this.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful watching that take place with the two of you guys.
Yeah, it was.
How's your relationship today?
That was my big brother, man. Like, I can't, it's, we talk often. We send each other Christmas cards every year.
Send each other Christmas cards.
Every year.
So cool.
That we have nothing to do with, but, yet and still, but we're extremely close, man.
Extremely.
Extremely close.
That's
extremely
great. That's great. As a fan, I'm not in your world. Your world is a whole different world. I just see it from a fan, and I just see it from what experts say. But as a fan, I feel that's exactly how it would be with you and him because the level of respect from both sides is reciprocal. And it's great to hear that.
Now you see, Kobe and MJ never talked about this relationship while Kobe was an active player. I think they protected it because, the media and everyone, they can be used to turn them against each other. We see this often. And you've experienced this in some of your friendships or relationships where the outside people will try to sabotage it. They protected this hardcore for over 20 years. They were having this insanely close relationship, friendship, family situation, mentor, master-student thing going on. And none of us really knew it was happening. And it's so cool they kept it under wraps. And it's so cool that Kobe got to talk about it before it was too late because his career was over, his basketball career was over. And then MJ never talked about it until it was that day when, it was the celebration of life. And I was like, oh my God, they did such a good job keeping this a secret. They're not on social media hitting each other up in public. And, it's so different.
Going a little bit past it, you came into the league, you start playing. First year, you get traded for Divac, which we were devastated when we lost Vlade Divac.
Vlade, yeah. Vlade Dottie likes to potty.
Heartbroken when we lost Divac. Okay. I think he got the sarcasm. Some of you guys who don't know basketball, you missed that one. You kind of went like this. But Kobe shows up. I mean, I'm like a kid in a candy. So when you show up, I'm like, oh, no more Sedale treat. We're going to get some real players. Nothing against these guys, but we wanted some entertainment,
Yeah.
So you show up and you play, and there was the one game. I think you started getting a little bit more playing time. I think you did 7.2 points a game because they won't let you play. The coach was just not putting you in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Second season was like 15. I bet if you take your first three and you played college, your 25.4 would be a 26.5, 26.6 type of a number.
Yeah.
But your first 3 seasons, then the one game, it's the last game of the season, you play Utah.
Yeah.
The one where you shoot 3 air balls at the end.
5. It was like 5.
And then you hit one and his team doesn't go in, right? Malone, one of the Malones came and spoke to you. I don't know who it was, from the Jazz. He was saying something, you were not even paying attention. Shaq was whispering something in your ear. What did Shaq say to you in that moment?
I don't even know.
You don't remember?
No, I wasn't paying attention.
Got it.
It was, for me, it's maybe it's a little like asshole of me or whatever, but whatever. He was trying to whisper encouraging things. I was like, I'm fucking fine. Okay, I shot 5 air balls on national TV in front of millions of people that cost us the series, and I'm 18. I'm fine, dude.
How do you get there how does somebody get there mentally with that public humiliation? To some people hurts them and they don't come back because, there was a player, Barbosa. I don't know if you remember Barbosa.
Yeah.
Of course you remember.
Oh, yeah,
He was
Leandro.
extremely talented for quick first step. But
Wow, quick story about Leandro. Came here poor. He had no money, no home, nothing. Okay? He was trying out for my Phoenix Suns. This was around that 2005, 2006 period. And, man, he slept in the facility that he was trying out in because he had nowhere to go, and he was like so desperately wanting to make the team. Dude, Leandro Barbosa, he was a wild card, kind of like Ginobili. Like, he's wild, he's untamed, but he was fantastic hooper. I loved watching Leandro Barbosa play for the Suns.
Said he wouldn't do well when the spotlight was on him.
Yeah.
How did you get mentally and emotionally so strong where it doesn't bother you?
Well, you got to look at the reality of the situation. Like for me, it's not, you kind of got to get over yourself. Like, it's not about you, man. Like, okay, you feel embarrassed. You're not that important. Like, get over yourself.
That's where you go.
Get over yourself,
yeah.
right? Like, you're worried about how people may perceive you, and like you're walking around and it's embarrassing because you shot 5 air balls. Get over yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And then after that, it's okay, well, why did those air balls happen?
No legs.
Got it. High school, year before, we played 35 games, max, right? Week in between, spaced out, plenty of time to rest. In the NBA, it's back to back to back to back to back to back to back. I didn't have the legs.
Yep. Same thing happened to MJ in 94, 95. When he came back from baseball, he didn't have the legs. He wasn't prepared for a deep playoff run. Not even close.
At the shot, every shot was online. Every shot was online, but every shot was short.
Yep.
Right? I got to get stronger. I got to train differently. The weight training program that I'm doing, I got to tailor it for an 82-game season so that when the playoffs come around, my legs are stronger and that ball gets there. So I look at it with rationale and say, okay, well, the reason why I shot air balls is because my legs aren't there. I go, well, next year they'll be there.
Yep.
That was it.
Done.
And that's why he was never a choke artist, because it started out that way. And if he would have got stuck in his head about it, like, oh man, I suck, I'm a phony. If he had imposter syndrome, then it would have crumbled his entire career. But instead, he approached it logically. This is why it happened. This is how I fix it. Let's execute the fix. I love that mentality, man. So many people, they screw up once, they choke once, and then they never recover. Off the top of my head, I'm sorry to say it, but like Nick Anderson, it reminds me of that with those free throws. His confidence never recovered.
And what is your process of improvement with your schedule leaving? Because, Phil Jackson gets asked between you and MJ, right? Because he coached both of you guys. So, you constantly gets asked that question.
He's always going to pick the first child.
He's going to pick the first child. But I tell you, he said something about you that to me, it's a level of respect that any player can duplicate what he said about you. To me, the level of respect for that is a whole different level. You can't teach big hands.
Right.
Yeah.
You cannot teach that, right? You cannot teach 49, 48-inch, whatever the vertical leap is, and you cannot teach that, right?
Sure.
But he said nobody in his history of coaching had your level of work ethic. I mean, you hear so many guys tell stories about your work ethic.
Yeah.
What was really your work ethic like, and for how long did you stay disciplined?
Yeah, he had to. And that's the cool thing. He had a couple of weaknesses, and he had to overcompensate by just training and training and training.
Well, I mean, every day. I mean, since for 20 years. I mean, it was an everyday process and trying to figure out strengths and weaknesses. For example, jumping ability. Man, my vertical was a 40. It wasn't a 46 or a 45. My hands are big, but they're not massive. Right? So you got to figure out ways to strengthen them so your hands are strong enough to be able to palm a ball and do the things that you need to do. Quickness, I was quick, but not insanely quick. I was fast, but not ridiculously fast. Right? So I had to rely on skill a lot more.
Fundamentals.
I had to rely on angles a lot more. I had to study the game a lot more. And but I enjoyed it though. So like from the time I can remember when I started watching the game, I studied the game, and it just never changed.
Technical question here. Let's see
Sure.
how you can answer this. Who would Shaq be if he had your work
Oh,
ethic?
yeah.
He'd be the greatest of all time.
If Shaq had your work
He'd be the greatest of all time.
Greatest of all time by a
For
mile.
sure. He'd be the first to tell you that.
Yep, I agree.
For sure. I mean, this guy was a force like I have never seen. I mean, it was crazy. You know, a guy at that size, generally guys at that size are a little timid and they don't want to be tall. They don't want to be big. Man, this dude was, he did not care. He was mean. He was nasty. He was competitive. He was vindictive. I mean, he was, I wish he was in the gym. I would have had fucking 12 rings.
Yeah, no, I mean, seriously, though, Shaq was the opposite of Wilt, because Wilt was actually overly kind on the court, from what I understand, from what everyone I hear about it. They all say the same thing. He went out of his way to make sure he didn't hurt anybody on the court because he knew how much bigger he was. Shaq didn't give a damn. He was using every ounce of that body and using it to his advantage. And I've been saying it for years. I think the people who disagree with my take on this and Kobe's take on this never really watched 90s Shaq. Because when you saw early young Shaq come into the league, there was no ceiling whatsoever for him in the beginning. He could do it all. He could dribble. He could pass. He had good footwork. He was quick, but he was also the strongest. You know, he could run a freaking fast break when he wanted to. The guy had it all. All he had to do was continue to work on his weaknesses, and he could have been the greatest of all time. We all said it. I mean, I'll say like me and my brother used to say it in the early 90s, around 93, 94, 95, where it was like, no, we know Jordan's the GOAT, but this guy Shaq, he might be the next one. I really, truly believed it, and I was kind of disappointed to see that he, instead of working on his weaknesses got, you know what it is. He got out of shape. He wasn't working hard, but just being that gifted alone still got him 4 championships. So it's not like I'm criticizing, but 100% I'm behind Kobe here, saying Shaq could have been the greatest of all time. In fact, I expected him to be the greatest of all time.
He had the work ethic.
My God, yeah. We ain't be close.
Wow. And let me ask you this question. And by the way, I'm not asking this question to create feud between you and him.
I don't care, bro. Listen, me and Shaq sit down all the time, and I say, dude, if your lazy ass was in shape.
I hear you saying all the time, and he takes it.
I tell him all the time.
I'm asking this question for a different reason. I'm asking this question because, look, we've grown as a company extremely fast. We went from one office with 66 agents to 10,900 offices, 10,900 agents in 49 states, and we're the fastest growing insurance company now. But I say
insurance company? Did he say that?
This growing insurance
company.
But I say this.
Okay.
I say it for one
This
reason.
is an insurance
And by
company.
the way, this message is directed to a lot of you, so hear me out very simply. The fact that you say the work ethic
Wait,
side.
what? Valuetainment's got to be a separate company, right? I'm confused. No way an insurance company is called Valuetainment. If anybody understands this, please let me know. I did not expect them to say insurance. I thought this was a media company.
The fact they say work ethic side, and you say, hey, if he would have worked that hard as I did, do you think if he would have had the same level of commitment to the game as you did, you guys would have had fewer feuds between each other?
Yeah, because I don't deal with people that don't commit at that level, but then act as if they do. I don't deal with that. I don't. It's real shit. I mean, listen.
Yep.
So, like, we used to get into stuff all the time because it was like, you know, he would say, okay, Kobe's not throwing me the ball. And, you know, media would take it and run with it and all sort of stuff. And I'm like, well, bruh, if you were in shape, by the time I run down on a fast break and run back and then run down, you're still coming down the first time, bruh. Like, what the hell do you want me to do? Right? So a lot of our contention came from that.
And even though he was older, you were still confronting him. You didn't care.
Oh, I didn't care. Man,
from
listen.
Day one?
Bro.
From day one.
I knew for sure Rick Fox, my teammates, they all thought I was absolutely crazy the day me and Shaq got in a fist fight. After that day, they were like, okay, Kobe, you're certifiable.
Fist fight.
Oh, yeah.
Fist fight.
I'm not backing down. Listen, either you're going to
and
whoop
Shaq
my
got
ass or we're going to have a night. But
Was this the first time that this came to light, the whole fist fight thing?
ain't no way. There's a level of respect, and for Shaq too. By the way, I know he's told me that day was a big turning point for him because it was like he's generally used to talking trash and saying what he wants, and nobody really stepping up and challenging him on that.
That's a bully mentality. Yep.
When he saw me challenge him on that, he was like, "This kid's crazy." All right, I can win with that. And so that was kind of the beginning of our relationship, I think.
That's probably never happened to him. That's probably not something that's common to him.
No,
I mean, he's also 7 feet tall since he was 3 years old or something, right?
This is all coming back to me right now. There's also a game in Phoenix. My first year we were playing, and he kept posting up, but they kept fouling him, so he kept going to the free throw line and kept missing them. And so he'd throw the ball out to me. I'm not throwing that shit back in there. Right? So I kept shooting him, right? So we get in the timeout, and he's like, hey, I'm open. I'm like, okay. And so we go out, and same thing. Hey, I'm open. Okay. There you go. Come back in. Hey, dude, you got to throw me the ball. I said, man, fuck that. Get it off the rebound if I miss, bro.
You told him this. First year.
18 years old, man. 18 years old.
Yeah, because, dude, at that point, if you throw it into him every time and they do the hack-a-shack, then per possession average, you're going to be scoring 1 point per possession because Shaq is going to shoot 50-50 from the line. There's no stopping it. He did it his whole career. So, yeah, I get it. When the hack-a-shack starts, he is only functional or usable on defense. Offensively, Shaq is just out there hurting the team. And that's why you got to work on your weaknesses, everybody. Like, that's just it.
I must have been out of my damn mind.
Yeah, you were, man. You were crazy, Kobe.
So, did you have guys you went to outside of the players? Like when you're coming to figure out a way to improve your game. We had Billy Bean here a couple days ago, and I don't know if you know who Billy Bean is. If you've seen the movie Moneyball, he's the guy, Billy Bean.
Of course.
So he talked a lot about predictive analytics.
Man.
He talked about
So Billy Bean is the name, huh? That guy ruined professional sports.
the fact that the year Moneyball came out, the year prior to that, they paid players and looked at on-base percentage as 8 stat. And the year Moneyball came out, all the scouts started making on-base percentage number 1, what they recruited for, right? Did you have ways to improve your game by looking at data, looking at conditioning? What were some of the factors you looked at on how to improve your game season after season?
The game itself it's a complicated answer. So there are very tactical things in terms of footwork and geometry of the court. So you're looking at the court and looking at the 45-degree angles that the court is shaped in and how it needs to operate. That's one component to it. So looking at spots on the floor where you can increase your efficiency, right? You can be on the wing, but there's a certain spot on the wing that improves your angle to drive to the basket, right? So that sort of stuff. Footwork of the opposition, looking at the emotion of the opposition, their tendencies, their weaknesses, and all that stuff. Understanding the momentum of the game, how to create momentum shifts, where momentum shifts come from, all this sort of stuff. And then studying outside of that, right? Looking at different industries, looking at conductors, looking at writers, looking at actors and how they get into character, and then how do they keep themselves in that mental space. So looking at different industries, looking at nature itself and learning from that and how you can incorporate that into the game. Man, it was a lot of studying.
What's your process for making a decision? Do you have a flow of how you go through making a decision?
Depends on the decision. Depends on the decision. If we're talking about, a basketball decision where, you've got to, read a certain coverage or something like that. I mean, a lot of that comes from the pre-work and understanding what their defensive package is and how to put teammates in certain situations. So, for example, if you look at players nowadays that are charged with taking game-winning shots or making game-winning decisions, and you look at the play and then you look at it and say, okay, well, that shooter was there, the double team came, and, the player couldn't do anything but pass the ball, right? Well, that's because they didn't do the pre-work, right? So when you do the pre-work, you understand, okay, this team in this situation likes to run a double team from this particular angle. All right, so I'm gonna clear that side out, force the double team to come from a different angle, move myself to a space on the floor where it's gonna take a long time for the double team to come, and now I can circumvent the double team and get to a place on the floor where I can knock down a shot or get to the basket. So it's all that pre-work.
And that was Kobe's ISO signal. And yeah, that's what it meant. Get off of my side. You know what I mean? So that'll eliminate a lot of the double teams. Anyways, everyone, we are at the halfway point here. So I don't want to do it, but I got to stop it. That way we can do the part 2 for the After Dark version of this. And this went by so fast, though. I'm so excited to just get right back into this. Everyone, thanks for watching so far. Thanks for celebrating. I hope you're enjoying this even half as much as I am, because this is fantastic. I'm way overdue for rewatching this, is what I'm realizing it. This is one of those videos that I think I should be watching like at least once a year, just to keep myself focused and aligned with the goals of life. But everyone, leave your comments down below. Have you guys seen this? Do you know what's coming? Because right now, I don't remember what's coming next, and that's the way I like it. Everyone, I'll see you tonight, all right? Thanks for watching. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. Hit that bell if you want to get notified later tonight when I drop the second half of this. I appreciate you all. And until tonight, peace out.